So we're building a new sheet metal brake. My last one, Lieutenant Diane, had a catastrophic failure about a month or so ago, and it's just not worth salvaging. More work to try and fix it than it would to build a new one. So here I got my angle iron. It's a 6-foot piece of 1/4 inch thick, 3" by 1.5" angle, and I got it clamped in my DIY pipe and tubing vise. And we did bust a zip disc off. Chunk flew out. Don't keep using those things. Just throw them in the trash and put a new one on. Protect your face. I got a leather apron on. I'm wearing gloves and a Lexon face shield. So you don't ever want to get hit by that stuff. It hurts and it leaves scars. And here I've already got my notches marked out for where the hinges are going to sit, and I'm just cutting the notches out of the angle iron. That way the hinges sit recessed in there, and you get a nice tight 90-degree bend when you are operating the sheet metal brake. So being 1/4 inch thick, it should hold up pretty nicely. I like using 16 gauge sheet metal, and most of the sheet metal brakes you can get are rated for up to 22 gauge. They say up to, like 22 gauge is thick. It's not. The bigger the number, the thinner the material. The smaller the number, the thicker the material. So, and we are using the Arc Captain ARC165 Pro series. It's a very nice stick welder. Very nice. I actually have been using this more than my MIG welder. But we're getting the hinges burned in. These are 2-inch half-pin barrel hinges. What we got here is a new sheet metal brake, folder, whatever you want to call it. So, end to end, it's 3 foot. Between the hinges, it's 32 inches. So I got 32 inches of bending surface. So it's not done. I'm in the process of building it. I am not sure which direction I want to go. Do I want to have it set up like it is to where it just mounts on a table? Or do I want to put it on a stand like Lieutenant Dan did? I have limited shop space. As you can see, this place is crowded and it's a train wreck. So it's just a single car garage. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is if I put it on a stand, and you can see the old sheet metal brake right there, there's not really any place to put it when it's not in use. So if I have it set up like this, I can stuff it in a corner. I can put it behind the pile of steel back there, and then I can just clamp it to the table. But we made some improvements. So what happened was, on the last one, I made it out of 1/8 inch 1.5 by 1.5" angle, and I was building a full width sheet of 16 gauge, and it ripped out at the hinge on both sides, and this just caved. So it ripped here kind of like this, and this whole section just kind of went down, and it was just, the backside's fine, but like I said, it's too much work to fix it as opposed to building a new one. So we'll just throw that out of the way. As it stands, I can clamp to this, or I can drill this and figure out a way to use fixtures to hold this down, or I can use these or your C clamps and clamp it to a table or edge of a counter, whatever. But I still need to put handles on so I can fold it. And I guess if I took the clamp off, it would open up. But what we got here are some beautiful, beautiful show quality welds. Look at that bad boy. Anyway, so what I did was I took some flat bar and I cut sections, as you can see, and this is all 1/4 inch. The angle iron's 1/4 inch, the flat bar is 1/4 inch. That way, if I'm doing 16 gauge, which is what I prefer to work with, even though 18 gauge is plenty good and easier to manipulate, that's not the point. So when I go to fold it, this isn't gonna rip and this isn't gonna bend because it's braced up inside here. So that should spread the load out pretty good. And then I don't know if I want to put the handles outside these two braces or inside. And then also I need to figure out a clamp. You know, basically the part that comes down like yay, and that way it pinches it as you're bending and doesn't let the plate move. It gives it something to break over. And then also I think I'm going to do it different this time, and instead of having this the pan brake or whatever you call it, where I have to do it manually, like as in undo the bolts then lift it up, I think I'm going to figure out a apparatus where I can put a spring over a bolt and use a big ass wing nut. Just spin it loose, both sides. The springs raise up, lifts that up. I get the sheet metal out, put the next piece in, twist them back down, and then back to showtime. So we got to get that figured out. Like I said, I don't know which route I want to go as far as, do I want it table mounted or do I want to put it on a stand? I got 2 projects I'm working on at the same time, more or less. We're doing this because I need this to facilitate the Chevy project. But this is where we're at. This is part 1, and we're going to continue working on this, and we're going to come up with the rest of the design. I'm literally winging it. I have an idea and I don't have any drawings. I just take it out of my brain and burn it into the metal. So this is part 1, like I said. Part 2 will be coming soon, and then part 2 will be the finished version of this, and you'll guys get to see the grand finale. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. If you like the content, enjoy what I got going on here, drop me a comment, and we'll see you in part 2.